hi there, I heard you want to learn C++. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna come to Google and type Microsoft Visual Studio. Then you click on this tab here. When it opens, you scroll extreme down there. Then you'll see three different downloads. So for my Windows system or operating system, I'm gonna download this one here, and I'm gonna use the community version in my video. So it depends on which one you want, but I'm gonna use community version in this video. And then the people using Mac will obviously download this version here, which is compatible to Mac. Now if you click here and click community version, it will download, but I will not go the extra mile of downloading because I already have it installed. Now let's launch Visual Studio. So upon launching, you're gonna see something like this. So you click here and create a new project. Now that we're working in C++, you're gonna come back here and search C++, and then the idea is to install, or rather is to run a project like this one that has run code in a Windows terminal, print hello world by default, and it has C++ here highlighted, and it's Windows compatible. And I guess for Mac it will be different, but let's look at Windows compatible for now in our case. Now we click next, and then this is how we're gonna rename our project. I'm gonna name it hello world. Then this is the location where your project will be stored. Then you're going to click on create. Alright, so this is what is called a boilerplate, but I'm gonna delete everything here because I'm gonna teach you what is happening here. I don't want you to get confused. I'm going to teach you everything that you saw just now. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to import libraries. But in C++, the way we import is we use this hashtag, and then we're going to use the word include, then this signs here, input output stream. This library is very important. It's the most basic library that you will need in C++, and you'll see that in almost all of the programs it is there because it is the most fundamental, or rather the most library used in C++, because it contains the most basic tools that you will need. And the other one is using namespace standard. So the namespace standard is also a library that is used in C++ for standard methods like printing out something, methods like taking user input. I will touch back on that in a few seconds. Now we're gonna define the main method. The main method is defined with an integer keyword. I'll touch on integers in a few. Then how we define the method is we do it this way. Then by default we return 0, which means everything is running perfect. At this point, if I click on run, it will print nothing out. You'll see there's an empty print out there because I haven't told C++ what I want to print out, so it doesn't know. It's just going to print out an empty window there. Now if I want to print something out, the first thing, or the first keyword that you're going to learn in C++ is this one. For most of us, this is the first keyword. This keyword is used to output anything out into the terminal. So after this, you're going to follow it with these two signs. It's more like less than signs. We're going to put two of them. Then we're going to put inverted commas, double inverted commas, I think. And then anything that you're going to have inside of this will be printed out. Let's have something like hello. Then you'll notice that there's a squiggly there. This squiggly line means that there's an error that is encountered. So whatever that you're going to print out will not print. Let's get this straight. The window, rather the terminal window will appear, but it will not have the hello word inside. But if we use our terminating symbol, which is semicolon, you will see something printed out. Then the way to run it is you press Control plus F5. Then you'll see hello that will be printed out there. Then press any key to close this window. I'll press any key, then the window will close. What is happening here? This is a statement in C++. It's a complete statement and it has 0 errors. That's why it's running. It has it's terminated while we use the keyword cout to show that we want to see something out, right? We want to console out something, like most people would say. And then we have, this is the word that we want to print out. By the way, this is a string, which brings us to our first data type, strings. Well, strings are data types that are used to store any value that is text based. Say you want to store a name, we use the keyword string. This is a keyword string, and we also call it a data type. So the way we declare a name is we say string, then the name. This is a variable name, and then we use our terminating symbol, which is our semicolon, to show that we have declared something, which is a name. Now, a name is just declared there, but we haven't assigned a value to it. The way to assign a value to it, we're just gonna say name is equal to, then you're gonna input your name there. Then we also terminate it. Right, we also terminate it to show that it can print out. So the next thing that we can do here is we can say hello name. So for most, or rather intuitive, what will be printed out here is rather very intuitive for most, and let's see what it is now. So we have hello given, but we haven't put given here. We rather put the name that is inside of it as a value of given. So the way we do it is we put our variable here that is a value that is defined here, and then we declare it here. Also, you can rather, if you want to shorten your code or rather make your life easy, you can do it this way. Name is equal to given is equivalent to what we had at first, which will print out. You'll see just now. There's no change here. The next data type, we have integers. For both who have a mathematical background, you'll see that integers are whole numbers defined from a negative to the positive infinity. Doesn't matter which one you take, a negative what or positive value or 0, they are all integers. But one thing you must note is that integers are stored on a position of 0 decimal places. Integers only takes whole numbers. For example, if I want to store my age there, I'm just gonna define, or rather declare and define on the same line, and all of this is called a statement, a complete statement in C++, right? To print it out, you can have something like I am age years old. Right, let's see what gets printed out. So I am 12 years old. What you must notice is I did not put the variable inside this inverted commas, simply because it's a variable. It should not be in the inverted commas. And what I do here is I'm trying to separate a variable from a string so that I can print it on the same line. This is rather very someone can ask me, why don't you just write something like I am 12 years old, which is exactly the same as the first line, this line here, which is exactly the same. So the idea behind variables is they store values, right? Say for example I write I am 12 years old, and someone else comes and say someone else has a different name. Say for example their age is 15. I have to go back here and change this to 15, which is not really what a good code practice should be. So you rather store it as a variable so that it can be changed over time, and it doesn't have to be like typed like this. This we call it it's solid types. It is solid types. I forgot the keyword, but it is typed manually. Like it's not like It's not like this. So the best practice is this one and not this one, which I'll delete out. So whenever you're using any variable that will change, put it inside a variable, so that if, let's say, you have hundreds of this to change, hundreds of ages to change, you're gonna just change it in one place, then it will update. This is my best definition of a variable, but I guess someone has a better definition, and yeah, you can say it in the comments if you do. So the next data type that we'll look into is the double and floats. Most of the time when I explain doubles and floats, I want to explain them on the same line, because first, float is data type that is used to store a data with decimal places. But say you want to store mass 33.45 f, you must know that doubles have the f word at the end, the f word there at the end, which probably is used to indicate that this is a float. And then doubles are also used for the same purpose. Mass 2, I'm gonna say 44.56. Doubles don't have the f word at the end. I'll say the f word because you will be able to remember it. So doubles have more precision. Doubles has more precision than floats. What does that mean? If you want to store a value that has a lot of decimal places, like, it's most advisable to use a double rather than a float, because a float will curtail some of the values, then the output will be something like this. Again, depending on your use case, floats have lower bytes in memory than doubles. Doubles has 8 bytes of memory and floats 4 bytes of memory. So float, let's say you want to find out the size of the float and the size of a double, we're going to use the size of method. We'll touch into methods later on. So we're going to have float and we're going to have cout size of double. This, ladies and gentlemen, is used to show the size of each data type. So what I'm gonna print out here is, it's gonna be the size of each, size of float and the size of a double. Let's see. So we have a size of a float which is 4 and a size of a double which is 8. But bear in mind, I typed everything on a new line, but on my terminal here it's printed on the same line, simply because I did not tell C++ that. C++ doesn't know that I want everything to be on a different line, on a separate line, or on the next line, or any sentence or any expression or rather statement will be on a new line. So the only way to do, or rather one way to do it, is to use the end line keyword. The end line keyword is used to tell C++ that I want everything to be printed on a separate line. Then when you run it, you're gonna see something like this. So this is the size of a double, of a float, then of a double. So depending on your use case, you must use the one that has less bytes in memory, so that you don't inundate your system, like your RAM or whatever, so that you don't use more memory unnecessarily. So alright, now moving on to the next data type, we're gonna look into booleans. So booleans are true or false, yes, no, on, off, 1, 0. They used to store two values, either true or false, yes or no, 1 or 0. You see, all those kind of things. For example, we can have a bool, so there are the prefix is bool, and then is student, then we may have something like true, right? This is to say a person is a student, right? It's a complete statement that says this person is a student. So if we say he is not a student, we're going to put false, right? So boolean store either true or false, that's it, or 1 or 2. But bear in mind that when you print it out, you're not gonna see true. Let's see what you will see there. You're gonna see 1. 1 is the same as true, and 0 is the same as false. Say if you want to correct, you say a person deregistered, then we're gonna assign all of the is student status to false. Then you're gonna see the output will be a 0 that we are waiting for. You see, so booleans take 0, 1, true, false, right? So we are done with data type. So now the next thing to look into is user input. Say for example we just want the user to input their names, input their names, not necessarily type their names. We don't want to type their names. We want themselves to type their names the way they want. So how we do it is we're gonna say let's define a name. Let's declare a name, then cin. Cin is a keyword that is used to say everything that's gonna follow after cin will be something that the user will input. So we want the user to input their name. But if it's like this, the user won't know what to input because the C++ is just going to put this cursor there and they won't know what to do. So the best practice is to just type something like enter your name. By the way, everything that is into inverted commas is a string. It's a string data type. So when I run it, you're going to see it's going to be very, very nicely put. But I don't have the spacing here. I'll show you how to do that in next when we go back. So if I type given, it's just gonna say nothing will happen. But if I have this, you'll see that on the user interface part we'll have an improvement and everything will look cleaner on the user interface side. Then you might want to say something like hello, I'm gonna put space here, name. So hello name here will be printed out. We'll see. Now enter your name given. When I press enter, you'll see hello name. You see, this can be used, for example, if say we wanna name is our user, then we wanna have something like greet the user. We'll do something like this, hello user. Or when maybe the user logs out, immediately when the user logs in, we're gonna have a message that's going to print hello user. Then the user is going to be the username that they type on when they're logging in. So this is one of the use case out of many, you see. And the next thing that we're gonna look into, say you wanna type a name. If you have a name, let's say a full name, you wanna type a full name. We can also store full names in C++, but the keyword that you're gonna use is getLine word, and then inside of getLine we're gonna have cin, comma, user. Then we're gonna end our line there. Now let's see if it will work, because I see the squiggly here, so something might be wrong, or rather I may have forgotten something. Let's see. Okay, now when I enter my name, let's say I'm gonna enter my name, my full name there. Let's hope everything gets printed out. Hello given. Where is this last name? It's not printed out because this get line here is not read. Like it's not interpreted because it's erroneous. So how most people do it is they import standard library inline. So we're gonna have like standard library get line, and then okay, maybe you see. Now how I did it is I included the string library to show that I'm gonna be taking multiple names. For example, if I run there, you're gonna see that given Mority will be interpreted now. You see hello given Mority, because now I included a library that has a getLine method in it. Then inside I put cin, which is my keyword for inputting anything or rather taking input, and then the user is the variable here. So hello user will be printed out nicely. User and the last name and last name will be printed out nicely. So this is one of the things that you must keep in mind, that whenever you take user input that has name and last name or any two words that are not connected, you're going to use a getLine method. It's a method. Alright, so the next part is, I guess I haven't covered things like comments. So comments start with the 2 forward slashes. Forward slashes, how they work is they show that this is a comment. If I put forward slashes here, this will not be interpreted, right? And then if I remove them, it's going to be reinterpreted, or it's going to go back to the previous state. So how it works is it's used maybe to tell the user, or rather the persons who are going to be reading our code, what we are doing here. For example, we might want to write something like getting user input. In comments, one thing you must note is we don't rewrite the whole code as in words. What we're doing is to tell the person what we are doing here, not necessarily spell everything out verbose. So keep that in mind. We just want to write get user input. Now, yeah. So most of the time, comments you must put them on the side so that the user will be able to follow your code nicely. Say you have complex code to input in, then yeah. Now let's get back to the use case of integers. Say we have a bar. We have a bar that allows people who are 18 years old. So what you can do is at our entrance, we can have something like an application that will embed into our system, and then it can take something like an age, right? Then we'll ask the user to enter their age, or rather ask the user to enter their ID, so that we can be enter or scan, because people will enter wrong IDs. So we can ask them to scan out their ID so that we'll be able to cut out their age or calculate their age from the ID and be able to tell them if they're allowed or not allowed. The simplest way to put it is this way. Say we want the user to enter their age. So we'll have something like enter your age, and then cin. I use cin alone. I don't have to use getLine because age is just 18, 24. It doesn't have 24 then space 56. You see. So enter your age. I'm gonna do it like this. Then I'm gonna see out something like if age is greater or equal to 18, print something like open the gate. You see, open the gate, or something like welcome. Else if their age is below that, else we're gonna say something like see out you are under age, right? And we terminate our statement. I know we haven't covered the if else statement, but I will touch on it in a few. I just want to demonstrate how integers can be used. So say our user types something like let's say we run our code. Let's run our code and see how it works. Say I'm 12, and when I click on open, it will tell me I'm underage and it will not open the gate for me. But a user that's like 18 years old, when they type their age, it will say welcome and open the gate, something like that, right? But someone can just say well, I'll just back on it, but someone will not necessarily type their age. They can type something like something like that's not relevant. They can type something like this on our form, or maybe on our key entry, or maybe entry code, so which is not allowed, but we'll touch back on it when we look into try access statements. For now, let's look at one of the most important statements, which are if-else statements. If-else statements are used to validate whether a certain item was imputed, right? Or rather computed. I'll use computed now. So if is used to check whether something is true. For example, if our age is greater or equal to 18, allow the user. Else the user is younger, right? So if the user is 188 years old, allow them. But if at any point the user is 17, do not allow. This is how if else works. So we validate and then make a decision, and then else if it doesn't pass the validation, we print something else, or rather we do something else. That's how if else works.